मुझे देख पा रहे हैं और सुन भी सकते हैं। आधे मिनट में हम शुरू करने जा रहे हैं आज का ये नया कार्यक्रम। कोई मुझे चैट में बता दे आप सुन सकते हैं और देख भी सकते हैं। चलिए शुरुआत करते हैं। Happily, currently there is a revival of interest in the ancient Indian subjects. And though people may not actually understand the importance or the seriousness of the subject that has been created by our ancient masters, the tendency to explore this is on the rise, which is a very happy situation. Merely chanting mantras or shlokas without understanding the underlying meaning may not be as effective, and eventually people start losing interest when they don't understand what they are chanting. So it is always a good idea to connect the ancient knowledge philosophies with the contemporary societies so that people can appreciate the beauty of and the riches of the ancient Indian knowledge. So let's start cracking on this. Pratibimb Charitable Trust welcomes you to this episode on Nirvana Shatakam or Atma Shatakam, written by Adi Shankaracharya. A very small composition of 6 verses, which talks about the pure soul. And when we talk in terms of the Indian context, we talk of the paramatma and the Atma. So just to give a very layman kind of understanding of what is paramatma, paramatma is God or universal energy, and Atma is the energy that drives each individual living being. So for you and me, there is an Atma inside us which is driving our enterprise in whatever form we are existing today. What is the purpose of this Atma? Eventually, you will understand as we go through the 6 verses of Adi Shankaracharya. But before we go into the composition, let us first have a brief understanding of the human being in the modern context. So, since there is a lot of scientific bent of mind in contemporary human beings, let us understand it from the scientific point of view. So the human being is essentially made up of 3 components. One is the body, the second is the mind, and the third is the soul. And let us understand in a picture form what exactly this is. So here is a figure which shows 2 human beings, a man and a woman, outline. Both have a body which is perishable. So there is a time frame, there is an expiry date, and the human body perishes. This human body is made up of physical substance, which is cellular tissue, and it is encased in an outer covering, which gives it a limit. So that you have a limitation of height, width, and weight. So that is the human body. Inside the human body, there is a mind, and this mind has been categorized as the conscious mind, which is perishable, and this is our awareness mind. This is our processing mind, which usually is the function of the brain or the nervous system that processes information, applies logic. And I'm not saying good logic, bad logic, correct logic, wrong logic. I'm only saying it applies logic and arrives at conclusions. Again, I'm not commenting on right conclusion, wrong conclusion. Whatever is the logic that each individual human being applies, he arrives at a conclusion. And that component is part of the brain activity. Then there is another component of the human mind, which is known as the subconscious mind. And this mind is imperishable. It resides in every cell, every tissue of the human being. Now, the question will come, how is it imperishable if the whole human body is perishable? So, we will come to that. The third component is the prana shakti, or the energizing center of every living being, be it animal, plant, or human being. Every living being is energized, and this energy component is called prana shakti, which energizes me, you, and everybody. The day this prana shakti goes away from me, I cease to exist. Nobody will recognize me as Praveen Mankar or you by your name the day the prana shakti exits your body. Our identity remains as long as this prana shakti remains in me. Every cell in my body is functioning because this energy is there. I'm able to open my eyelids, my pancreas is able to produce insulin, my lungs are able to exchange oxygen, carbon dioxide. All these activities are happening because of this prana shakti. Now, all of us, all these living creations, are existing in this universe. And this universe is a bundle of energy, which is universal energy. Some people call it paramatma, some people call it God, some people call it by various names. Ultimately, it is a universal energy. And for the purpose of today's discussion, we will call it the pure soul or the whole. So there is a paramatma, which is everywhere, and there is an atma, which is typical of every life form. So you have your atma, I have my atma, and every living being on this earth has its own atma, which is part of the whole. So what is our soul? Our soul or our atma, हमारी जो आत्मा है जो गुम नहीं होती है, it's a composite of the subconscious mind and the prana energy. The subconscious mind never perishes. It is imperishable. Prana energy never perishes. The two together, when the body and the conscious mind perishes, the two together transit. Where do they transit? What happens to them? Let's see in the next slide. So let's explore the transmigration or the journey of the human soul. So let's imagine space or nothingness, which is universe. Now, universe has no boundaries, but if there is no boundary, then we cannot understand. And henceforth, I have described this universe with dotted circle to signify that this is a universe. But that dotted line doesn't exist because there are no boundaries in the universe. In this universe, there is a soul, a small part of the entire Paramatma is a small Atma. So let's denote this Atma as this tiny red circle inside that universe. This soul takes birth in a human body. So let's imagine that this guy is an American born in America. The soul has acquired an American body, and this person is now identified as an American, whatever name you call him. Tom, John, Sam, whatever name you want to call him, he's an American born in America. And we can, this is life number one in the form of an American man. The soul has entered the body of an American man and he's living a life. That soul is living life number one. At the end of life number one, after the death of this American, the soul is released, the body perishes. The body is either buried or burnt, whatever is the custom of that particular individual's society. And the soul gets released back into this space or nothingness. Now the soul is looking for another body. And we will not come into Why the soul is looking for another body? The soul is looking for another body. Some people don't believe in rebirth, which is fine. Those who believe in rebirth, they will understand that the soul acquires a new body. How does it acquire a new body? In another life form, in another time frame. So let's imagine in that empty space of nothingness, this soul, which was wandering about, searching for a body, got a chance to get born in Africa. So that space or nothingness exists in America, that space or nothingness also exists in Africa. The soul which was wandering about found an opportunity to get reborn in an African body. We call that life number 2. Now, this person also has an expiry date, and when this person perishes, the body perishes, the soul is released once again into that space of nothingness. Now, this space of nothingness is also in Australia, the space of nothingness is also in Asia, it's also in Europe. And let's say this soul now got an opportunity to be born in Asia. After the death of the African man or woman, the soul transited into Asia and got born in Asia. So the journey of the soul continues. The bodies have perished 60 years ago, 70 years ago, 80 years ago, 150 years ago. Bodies have perished, but the soul's journey continues. And now that soul has life number 3. When you say life number 3, it means life form number 3. So the first form was American, the second form was African, the third form was Asian. And when the life number 3 of this Asian is over, the soul again gets released into the space of nothingness, and it could be Australia, it could be back to America, it could be Europe, it could be anywhere on the face of this earth. So the soul is constantly looking for an opportunity to be reborn. Why? Because it cannot express itself unless there is substance. Like electricity cannot express itself unless there is a bulb or an oven or a TV or a refrigerator. It needs an article or a substance to express itself. That is the feature of every energy. Energy cannot express itself unless there is a existence of substance or material. So this is the transmigration or the journey of the soul as it moves on and on and on. And we will come back to this concept at the end of the Nirvana Shatakam. Let's look at chapter 2, Shlok 13 of the Bhagavad Gita. What does it say? Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantar praptihi dhirastatra namuyati. So let's not worry about the Sanskrit part. Most of us don't know Sanskrit. Let's go straight into the translation. What does it mean? It means just as the embodied soul, and the key word is embodied soul, soul inside a body, continuously passes from childhood to youth to old age. The soul in a body is born as a baby, and the baby grows up into a child, school going child, then into an adolescent, and then into an adult, and then into a middle aged man, and then as an old person. So the soul is witnessing all the transition of the human body. Similarly, at the time of death, the soul passes into another body. So there is a transition that is happening, and the soul is experiencing this transition, not only within the body as long as the body exists, but also after the body, when the previous body has perished and the soul tries to enter into another body and succeeds in becoming another entity, identity. The wise people are not deluded by this. The wise people do not pay importance to the identity of the structure or the body or the form. They give importance to the soul because the soul is imperishable, the soul is permanent, the body is impermanent. Let's look at another shlok of the Bhagavad Gita, again chapter 2, shlok 20. Na jayate mriyate va kadachin nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyah अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोयम पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे. Again, let's not worry about the Sanskrit. Let's go to the translation. The soul is neither born, nor does it ever die, nor once existed does it ever cease to be. The soul is without birth eternal, immortal, and ageless. So beautifully described in the Bhagavad Gita thousands of years ago, as spoken by Bhagwan Krishna to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And this knowledge continues to exist even today. The soul is not destroyed when the body is destroyed. Now, this is the key. The soul is not destroyed when the body is destroyed. The soul escapes. Now, that brings us to Adi Shankaracharya's version of the pure soul. And let's imagine that there is a conversation happening between the pure soul, the paramatma, and the human soul, the Atma. Let's imagine that they met in a cafe and they are having a conversation across the table. And the pure soul is describing itself to the Atma. The Paramatma is describing himself to the Atma. The Atma who is eager to become one with the Paramatma. Please take me in your fold. Please take me in your organization. Please make me part of you, is the pleading of the Atma, the soul of the human being. And the pure soul smiles, and the conversation goes like this, which is penned by Adi Shankaracharya in 6 verses, Nirvana, Shatakam. The first verse, Mano buddhya hankara chittaninaham nacha kshotra jivve nacha grana netre nacha vyoma bhumir na tejo na vayu chidananda rupa shivoham shivoham. So again, let's not worry about the Sanskrit part. Let's break it up into simple Hindi words which you and I can understand, and there is a English translation for those who don't understand Hindi. So mana, mind, buddhi, intellect, ahankar, ego, and chitta is awareness. So these are the four things which are very dear to a human existence. I value my mind, I value my intellect, I value my identity, my ego, and I am aware of myself and my surroundings. The pure soul says, I am not all that. I am not your awareness. I am not your mind. I am not your buddhi. I am not your intellect. I am not your identity. I am not your consciousness. Nacha grahana netre. Nacha shrotra jivhe, nacha grahana netre. So I am not your sense organs. I'm not your ears. I'm not your tongue. I'm not your nose. I'm not your eyes. Again, which you as a human being, you give a lot of importance to what you see. We hear a lot of people saying, मैंने मेरी आंखों से देखा, मैंने मेरी कानों से सुना. So we give a lot of importance to what we see and what we hear. So our sense organs are extremely dear to us. मैंने चखा, my tongue. I liked this taste. I did not like that taste. So I give a lot of importance to my sense of taste. Smell, lovely perfume, horrible odor. So I give importance to my senses. The pure consciousness says, I am neither your identification of what you saw or what you heard or what you tasted or what you smelled. I am not part of your senses. Nacha vyoma bhumirna tejo na vayu. I am neither the akash, vyom. Vyom is akash, the empty space. Neither the earth, bhumi. Na tej, fire. Na vayu, air. These are the basic elements which we are familiar with. So I am neither of these elements. Chitta ananda rupa. Chidananda rupa is a composite word which is broken up into 3 words. Chitta ananda rupa. And Shiva Aham is equal to Shivoham. Shivoham is another composite word which actually means Shiva and Aham. Now Shiva means purity, truth. So I am the blissful consciousness of truth. I am. That is the only complete statement made by the Paramatma. I am. Paramatma need not introduce himself as I am Mr. So and so, or Miss so and so, or Mrs. so and so, or I am Doctor so and so, or I am Advocate so and so. He simply, the pure consciousness simply has to say, I am. And whatever you add after the I am, anything could be the same pure consciousness. So I am the pure consciousness in the form of a dog. I am the pure consciousness in the form of a cat. I am the pure consciousness in the form of an elephant, a dolphin, an eagle, a mango tree, a coconut tree, or a rose, or any other flower. So I am everywhere, and that is the right understanding which we talk of in our course Life and Breath, propagated by Pratibimb. All the red things that you see are talked of in our course. We talk our sense organs, our ability to take inputs from our surroundings. We talk of the elements, the space, the earth, the fire, the air. Who is taking these inputs? We, the human beings, our Atma, our soul, our body, our mind. And what the pure Atma is saying in the conversation, I have nothing to do with what you do with your inputs and your awareness and your intellect and your ego. I have nothing to do with that. That's entirely yours. I am. I am everywhere. When you say, I like this taste, then it is your like. Somebody else may not like that taste. I'm not concerned with likes and dislikes of human beings. I am in every human being, and whatever that human being is enjoying or not enjoying, I am party to it. Listen carefully. Whatever the human being is enjoying or not enjoying, I am party to it. I don't pass judgment. You are the one who is passing judgment. I like this, I don't like this. So, this is the first shlok in that Nirvana Shatakam. Let's go to the second one. न च प्राणसंज्ञो न वै पंचवायुर्न वा सप्तधातुर् न वा पंचकोशः न वा पाणिपादौ न चोपस्थपायु चिदानंदरूप शिवोहम शिवोहम. So when you say prana shakti, and most of you are familiar with the word pranayam, we have learned pranayam in our basic course. Prana shakti is the vital energy inside our body. When you do higher studies of pranayam, you will realize that pranayam gets distributed into 5 different elements in the body depending on what levels you're talking of. You're talking of your head, you're talking of your throat to the heart, you're talking of heart to the navel, you're talking of navel to the reproductive organs, or you're talking of the lower limbs. The prana energy circulates in 5 different patterns, and therefore it is said Panchavayu. Panchavayu together makes Pranavayu. Pranavayu is oxygen in literal translation, but in spiritual translation, it is not merely oxygen, it is the energy that energizes any living body. Now you will see 5 names given to the 5 pranas: Pran, Apan, Vyan, Udan, and Saman. Now, those of you who are familiar with rituals, the Indian rituals of oblation or Havan or home as they call it, and then you are making some offering, and it is in the form of a naivedya. So naivedya is probably a thali or some sweet or some prasad that is being offered to the deity to whom you are praying, or the deity which you are worshipping. And the mantra goes like this. So when you are making an offering of the prasad, the mantra goes like this: Om pranaya swa, Om apanaya swa, Om vyanaya swa, Om udanaya swa, Om samanaya swa, Brahmane swa. What is the meaning of that? We think that we are offering the food or a thali or the prasad to the deity, but actually we are offering our own prana, we are offering our own self. So what is this pure consciousness telling the Atma? What is this Paramatma telling this Atma? Nacha prana sangyo, nacha navai panchavayu. So this offering is important to you, not for me. I am it. I am already it. What are you offering me? You are offering me things which I already have. You think it is yours and you are offering it to me. I am already that. You're taking from me and giving it back to me. So what kind of offering is this? I am not that. Sapta dhatu. So when you say dhatu, dhatu is like a substance. The human being is made up of substance like the flesh, the fat, the bones, the nerves, the sex hormones, so on and so forth. Again, look at the Atma and its consciousness. We are conscious of our body, we are conscious of our flesh. So, suppose there is an injury, there is a bruise or a cut in the flesh, blood will flow out. And then I am worried. My whole focus is on mending that injury or the bruise or the cut. I am worried about my fat. I'm talking of good cholesterol, bad cholesterol, blood tests, so on and so forth. I'm worried about my bones, osteoporosis, brittle bones, vitamin D. I'm talking of my nerves. I'm talking of my Alzheimer's. I'm talking of dementia. I'm talking of my nervous system not functioning well. I'm talking of damage to my nerves in herpes, so on and so forth. My whole focus is on my body. Then I'm worried about my sex hormones. People who don't get children are going helter skelter looking for some assistance, some medical guidance which will enable them to conceive a child. Or people are simply involving themselves in the pleasures of sex. The pure prana says, those are your concerns. I have got nothing to do with that. They are entirely your occupation. You are occupied with that. Panchakosha. The human enterprise is about food, nutrition, energy, intellect, emotions, mind, joy, happiness, because everybody is seeking happiness, and science. Science means, here science doesn't mean what you study in schools or colleges. Here science means the logic of life. So again, the pure energy is saying, the Paramatma is saying, these are your problems. You are interested in food. You are interested in nutrition. You are interested in your knowledge. Oh, I have become a chartered accountant. Oh, I have become an MBBS doctor. Oh, I have become an advocate. Those are your pursuits. I've got nothing to do with that. Life is like this. Life has to be lived like this. There will be a lot of philosophers who will give you gyan on life. The pure prana says, I have nothing to do with that. That's your enterprise. It's your association. It is your affliction. And you are seeking joy. Basically, you are seeking happiness. When certain conditions are met in your life, you are happy. When those conditions are not met, you are not happy. So you are not really talking of joy. You're talking of conditional happiness. Joy is the existence of happiness, irrespective of conditions. Whatever be the condition, I am in bliss. And that is what I am. You are not that. You are associated with conditions to be fulfilled. Then you are also very much conditioned to your organs of expression. You express with your speech. You express joy or happiness. You express sorrow. You express anger. You express jealousy. You express hatred. All these things are your expressions through speech. You express with your hands. You create articles, you destroy articles. You express with your legs. You go to the wrong places. You don't use your legs. You keep sitting in one place. There is a lot of inertia. Or you use your legs as a weapon. You kick somebody. You use your organ of excretion as an expression. So when you are afraid, you are running to the toilet more number of times. You are expressing fear by excreting. Those are again your pursuits, your objectives, your goals, your mechanisms. I have nothing to do with that. Those are all your associations with your human mind and the human body, which is perishable. I am imperishable. I have got nothing to do with what is perishable. I am Chitta Ananda Roop. I am Shiv. I am blissful consciousness. Nothing but blissful consciousness. Let's go to the third verse. न मे द्वेष रागौ न मे लोभ मोहौ मदो नैव मे नैव मात्सर्य भावः न धर्मो न चार्थो न कामो न मोक्षः चिदानंद रूपः शिवोहम शिवोहम. So again, let's split this Sanskrit shlok into simple words, Hindi and then the English translation. Dvesh, hate. You are associated with hate. You hate people who don't fit into your patterns. You hate people according to their nationality. You hate people according to the color of their skin. You hate people according to the community. You hate people according to their religion. You hate people according to their status, economic status. You hate people for variety of reasons. There is hatred in you. I have nothing to do with that hatred. It's the pure consciousness telling the human soul. You have anger. When your desires are not fulfilled, you get angry. If somebody is blocking your path, you get angry. If somebody is not moving in traffic and your car is behind, you will honk incessantly because you are angry that the traffic is not moving, the person in front of you is blocking your path. So you express anger. I have got nothing to do with your anger. Your anger is connected to your dissatisfaction. You are greedy. There is always a subject of I want and I want more. You have a 1 BHK, you want 2 BHK. You have a 2 BHK, you want 3 BHK. You have simple food, you want exotic food. You're not happy with the same food which gives you nourishment and nutrition. You want different varieties. That's why you go to different restaurants. That's why you have different parties. That's why you are searching for occasions for different parties. I have nothing to do with your food, your greed, your desires. I want. Then you have an ego. He insulted me. He talked rudely to me in front of 10 people. I felt ashamed. I was shamed in public. I have nothing to do with your shame. Your shame is associated with your identity, with your name, with your body, with your form, which is perishable. I have nothing to do with what is perishable. This is what we talk about in the human kingdom in our course, Life and Breath. Na dharmo na chartho, na dharma. Dharma is your duty for the purpose for which you are born. I have got nothing to do with why you are born. You were born because of your karmic patterns. I have nothing to do with your karma. Artha, wealth. I have nothing to do with your wealth. The money that you have in your pocket or in your bank will not come into the universe. It will remain where it is. It is perishable. I am not connected with what is perishable. Calm, your lust. You have lust for money. You have lust for wealth. You have lust for power. You have lust for sex. You have lust for acquisitions. You are lusty. I have got nothing to acquire. Everything is mine. Everything belongs to me. Where is the question of lust? I have got nothing to do with lust. You are interested in liberation. You feel bound by certain compulsions or certain responsibilities. I am not bound. I am in everything. Every responsibility is mine, but I am not bound. So therefore, I am not seeking liberation because I am already liberated. It is you who feels bound in that small frame of 5 feet 6 inches, 70 kilos. You feel restricted by the limitations of your qualification. You feel restricted by the limitation of the post that you're holding in your organization. You feel limited by the amount of money you're making either in business or in salary. It is your limitation. Those limits don't exist for me. I am blissful consciousness of truth. I am. In our course of Life and Breath, we say, I am whole, perfect, strong, powerful, loving, harmonious, rich, young, and happy. This is describing Chitta Ananda Roop, Shivoham. Shiv Aham. I am Shiv. Let's go to the next, fourth stanza. Na punyam na papam, na saukhyam na dukkham, na mantro na tirtham, na veda na yagya. Aham bhojanam naiva bhojyam na bhokta chidananda rupa, Shivoham Shivoham. So let's look at the Hindi and the English of that shlok. Punya, virtue. यू आर इंटरेस्टेड इन पुण्य. मुझे पुण्य कमाना है. मैं 4 धाम यात्रा करके आऊंगा तो पुण्य कमाऊंगा. मैं गंगा में डुबकी लगाऊंगा तो पुण्य कमाऊंगा. दैट्स योर enterprise. I have nothing to do. Ganga is also created by me. And the Char Dhams were created by the human beings who were created by me. So I need not go to the Char Dham. I did not lagao dubki in the Ganga. That's your problem. Na papam. It's again your creation. You murder somebody is your creation. I am not interested in that. It's your interest. Why did you murder? You had certain ulterior motives to achieve. Therefore, you did some path, or you did robbery, theft, or you cheated somebody, or you told lies. Those are your enterprises. Na, na sukha na dukkham. I am free from sukh. I am free from dukh. Again, these are your enterprises. Mantra, you're chanting shloks, you're chanting mantras. What is that? You think that that is the route to reach me. You think that that is the route which will purify you. But if you don't understand the mantra, if you don't understand the shlok, and if you're chanting mechanically, it doesn't work because nothing shifts in your consciousness. At the end of the day, what am I saying? I am blissful consciousness of truth. But if you are chanting mantras and shlokas without understanding, your consciousness is not shifting towards the bliss or the ultimate truth, and therefore nothing is happening with you. And that is why understanding the mantras is an important part. Visiting Tirtha Kshetra, like I said, the Char Dham. What are you achieving by going to the Char Dham? You are satisfying your ego that I did Char Dham Yatra. Do you even know the significance of one Dham that you are doing Char Dham? Do you know the significance of what happened to you when you went there? Again, did it change your consciousness? Have you come back to your routine life a changed person, or have you come back to the same old person? Then there is no shift. Then there are people who read Ved or many of the Granthas, the Upanishads, or any other religious text anywhere in the world without understanding what that text is trying to tell you, without shift in their consciousness. So you are only mechanically reading. There are people who have memorized 500, 600 verses of religious text, and they are very proudly saying that I can chant verbatim without a single mistake. Have they shifted in their consciousness? I am with those people who shift their consciousness. Otherwise, whatever you are doing is only satisfying your ego. When you say, I know 600 verses of the Bhagavad Gita, you are satisfying your ego. Do you know what the Gita is teaching? Has it shifted your consciousness? Then you are making sense. Then you are doing your duty. भोजनम पौष्टिक पदार्थ ग्रहण करते हैं. I am fasting today. I am only going to eat fruits, or I am not going to take any solid food. I am only going to survive on liquid food. Is it going to change your consciousness? Do you understand what is sacrifice? Do you understand what is austerity? Have you shifted to shedding things in life? If you are doing an upavas, that means you are shedding your hunger, you are shedding your dependence on food. Has it entered your consciousness that you are doing upavas for the purpose of shedding things on which you have become dependent and become an addict? Then there is a shift in your consciousness. Otherwise, you are the same old person. You are not moving an inch towards purity, and therefore you cannot merge with me and become blissful consciousness, which I am. Chitta Ananda Rupa Shivoham. The fifth verse says, Na mrityu na shanka na me jati bheda pita naiva me naiva mata na janma na bandhur na mitram gurur naiva shishya chidananda rupa shivoham shivoham. You are afraid of death. I have no death because I have no birth. I exist. I am eternal. I am infinite. I don't have a beginning, I don't have an end. You have a beginning because you have an identity and you are attached to your identity. Therefore, there is a fear of loss of identity. Shanka, there is a fear of death. You have association with Jat Path, caste and creed. I am Brahmin, I am Dalit, I am Shaivite, I am Kshatriya, I am Christian, I am Muslim, I am Buddhist, I am Jain. You have these distinctions made by you. I have no such distinctions. I am in everybody. You have importance for your father. You have importance for your mother. You have importance for your brother. You have importance for your birthday. You have importance for your friend or your teacher or your student. For me, everybody is alike. It's not my student or my teacher or my father or my mother. For you, the my is more important than the person. Your association is more with the my than with the prana shakti that is embodied in the father, mother, brother, sister, friend, guru, or the student, or the customer, or the associate. You have these distinctions. I have none of these distinctions. I am pure, blissful consciousness of truth. Chitta Ananda Rupa, Shiva Aham. Let's look at the next one. Aham nirvikalpo nirakara rupo vibhurvyappa sarvatra sarvendriyanam sadame samatvam na muktirna bandha chidananda rupa shivoham shivaham. Vikalpa. I have no objectives. I have no goals. I have no options. I have no variations. I want to first graduate, then I want to become a postgraduate, then I want to become a PhD, then I want to acquire a job in a multinational company, then I want to climb to the position of the president of the company. These are your options, variables, desires, vikalp, goals. I have no such goals. Vikalpa virahit, akarheen. Because you have a form, you want to occupy a particular chair. The form sits in the chair. I am formless. I can sit anywhere I want. I can occupy any chair I wish. I can be in the body of the CEO of a multinational organization. I am occupying the position of the CEO of the multinational organization. I can be in the form of the greatest classical singer in India, and I can be a Sangeet Visharad. I'm not worried about a particular goal or a destination because I am the destination. I am omnipresent, present everywhere at the same time. I am omniscient. I have all the knowledge of the sciences and the arts. And I am peaceful. I am blissful. I am not afflicted by my sense organs. I am not shackled by my senses. And I am not tickled by my ego. Sthita pragya. Na mukti mein, na bandhan mein. So whether I am bound in your body, I am okay. Whether your body exists or perishes, I am okay. Whether I am moving around as a free soul without a body, I am okay. I have no attachment to either the body or absence of body. Nirvikalpa, Nirakar, Vibhurvyap, omnipresent, Sarvatra Sarvendriyanam. I am the sense organ of the entire universe, not a particular individual, and therefore I am blissful consciousness. Chitta Ananda Rupa Shivoham. So these 6 beautiful verses tell us something which we saw right at the beginning. So here is the journey of the soul, and you will see in the whole, denoted by the dotted line bigger circle, there is a tiny small circle with a coloration. Those colorations are my attachments. That is the Atma. I am attached to my body. I am attached to my relations. I am attached to my father, mother, brother, guru, my students. I am attached to my things. I am attached to my bank balance. I am attached to my wallet. I am attached to my credit card. I am attached to my degree. So, as long as I am attached, my soul has the coloration of my attachments. Just like every other soul and every human being has a coloration of his or her attachments. And as long as that coloration exists, the soul cannot merge with the whole, because the whole says, my friend, you are dirty. Go clean yourself before you come into my house. It's like the mother telling the child who comes messy that pehle washroom mein ja, clean up yourself, wear good clothes, and then come and sit on the sofa. Otherwise, you will ruin my sofa. So the Paramatma is telling the Atma, go clean yourself before you come into my domain. Before I can allow you to become one with me, you need to clean yourself. So when the soul undertakes a journey of purifying himself, what does it mean? Shedding things, that I want factor. When you start shedding, then your soul becomes slightly purer. So you will see in the second circle, the smaller soul is less dense. The inner part of that smaller soul is white. It has only a boundary. So it has shed some of its desires, wants, and needs and purified itself. Yet it is identified by the boundary, and the Paramatma says, my friend, you are still dirty. Go clean yourself before you come to me and ask me to open the door and welcome you in my domain. And then the soul is embarking on several such journeys of birth, death, rebirth. And the cycle goes on and on and on till the person in the human form realizes that the ultimate aim is to purify myself by dropping my desires. And the third circle does not show you the existence of the soul, though the soul is there, the circle is there, but its boundary is also white, and the substance inside it is also white. It has become as pure as the Paramatma. The Paramatma says, welcome home, my child. You have now qualified. You have now qualified to enter my domain. So, this is purification of the soul, Nirvana, the state of Samadhi, and ultimately moksha, merging with the whole, self attainment, self realization, the ultimate dharma of every living being. So I thought that, especially the younger generation, as we say Gen Next or Gen Z, they have a lot of questions about what is this humbug about mantras and shlokas and what is the meaning of that. So without going into the Sanskrit, without going into the language, and without understanding the grammar of Sanskrit, I'm just trying to highlight the core message that is given to us in our ancient texts. Pratibimb will try to connect the ancient Indian knowledge with the contemporary world, with the language that we understand, and also try to give you some connection with what Pratibimb teaches in its courses, Life and Breath and Limbs. I thank all of you who have attended this session. And somebody is asking me a question. How do we souls prevent attachment to beloved people when we are brought together with their souls in this life form? Now, that will only come with practice. Anything cannot be achieved without practice. What are the practices? We teach those practices in our courses, Life and Breath and Limbs. But you need to have the willpower to sustain these practices. And if you talk to me separately, one on one, or send me a WhatsApp message, we can discuss your specific query in greater detail. If anybody has any question, you can always type it on the chat window and I will attempt to answer. Otherwise, you can connect with me in the WhatsApp group if you are connected with us already, or you can write to Pratibimb on the Pratibimb website, www.pratibimtrust.com. Thank you, all of you, for spending your Saturday evening with us and lending your ear to this immensely interesting topic from the great Adi Shankaracharya. Namaste. Nitin, you have a question? Shrikant, I will connect with you separately. Do soul exist in non-human beings? Yes, they do. A soul is part of the whole. Prana Shakti. Thank you, everyone. If anyone needs to ask any details, please connect with me directly. Namaste. Take care.